Hello, family and friends. Welcome to the Leaning In podcast. I'm your host, Calvin Wilson, and I'm glad that you took a moment to join me today. Today, I have the pleasure of having in my presence my daughter, Anna House. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Dad.
So, in 2017, I want to say it was Christmas of 2017, my wife gave me an Ancestry DNA kit for Christmas. I had been talking about finding my dad. I grew up never knowing my dad. I knew who his name was, and I have very vague memories of him when I was a little boy. There was not a lot of information that my mom never talked about my dad, or my siblings never talked about my dad. He never came around. So I absolutely knew nothing about him but his name. A lot of secrets were taken to the grave when my mom passed. And right now it's just me and my other brother. We're the only one left alive. And so my wife, after several years of me saying that, hey, I want to find my dad, she got me the Ancestry DNA kit. December 2017. She gave me the kit and I didn't take the test. I didn't send the test in right away. I waited a couple of weeks. I mean, she literally had to do everything. I took the urine or whatever it was, the swab, sent it off, download the app, go to the website and register. And so after we did that, I became interested, and I was getting some hits. If anybody else ever have taken the Ancestry DNA kit test, you get hits from cousins, fourth cousins, and fifth cousins. And so one day I got a hit. It was early in the morning. And I'm going to read to you what my long lost daughter that had been looking for me for a long time, and I believe that was 35 years old at the time. And this is what I read when I opened up. And it was, let me set up the backdrop for this. It was an eerie kind of feeling because I got up, it was very quiet. It was very early in the morning. And most like of you, I grabbed my phone and took a look at it, and I had a notification from Ancestry DNA saying that I had a match that was either parent or child. And I opened it up and it said, I've been looking for you a long time, Anna. And then we began to have this conversation. I said, I'd love to explore more. Both my parents are deceased. That means you would have to be my child. I'm very interested in exploring further what are the next steps. This is very interesting. My mom and dad are deceased. Based on the DNA results, you would have to be my child. And this leaves me wondering how, who, and when. I love to explore more, and that I'm on Ancestry looking for my dad and possible siblings.
Hey, Dad. Before you move on with that story, just out of curiosity, because it's two messages back to back. Like the first one, I
Hmm.
can't really tell if you were just speaking nonchalant or did it not hit you? Did you realize? Because then you came back again and said, "Oh wait, you would have to be you would have to be my child." Like you said it twice. Like
Yeah,
you weren't sure, you weren't sure. Like
I think it finally hit me. Like I was like, oh shoot, I got a child. There's somebody on here that could possibly my child. That's 2018, so that's 7 years ago. So I'm 56, 57 at the time. And I'm really, my heart just came up to my throat because I'm like, oh shoot, who did I get pregnant? I mean, I don't know. At the time, I didn't know that it was from 35 years ago. It could have been from 8 years ago. It could have been from before I met my current wife. It could have been somebody local. So my first reaction is most like humans' first reaction was negative. Like, oh shoot, I got somebody pregnant. I had no idea that it was from long time ago. So I know what it's like to grow up not knowing your dad. I know what it's like having that pain of not knowing where you're coming from. I know what it's like to have a lot of I wishes. I wish my dad was there. I mean, I vividly have memories over and over again of kids, having their father in their life, being able to supply, buy them tennis shoes or take them places. We grew up very poor. And so my sisters and my mom and my brothers, my uncles were my dad, but I didn't get that fatherly bonding that you get, from having a dad in your life, that loves you and that can inspire you. And not that you can't get that from mom. And there's a lot of successful single moms. There's a lot of, and I'm successful. So my mom and my siblings did a good job, even though I had some struggles in life. And a lot of it was a result of me not knowing where I came from. And so after that message right there, after I read it, I woke my wife up frantically. And I said, Denise, there's a young lady on here talking about she may be my child. And Denise said, you took a DNA test of me. And so DNA don't lie, does it? And so, and from there, it was like, what do we do now? And so what was your perspective? Tell me about your journey to taking the DNA test and all that.
Yeah. Um, so for me, if I kind of start off kind of on the same cadence of the story that you told from your perspective, your personal experience. For me, my husband got me the Ancestry DNA kit for Christmas, December of 2016. And I don't know if it was wrapped or not. I remember him handing it to me. He said, Merry Christmas. And the words that came from his mouth were, You never know. That is exactly what my husband told me when he handed me the kit. And I was like, oh, okay. It just never occurred to me. I never thought about it, but I was like, okay, same thing. I didn't take it right away. I think I sat on it for about a week maybe. And my husband was like, hey, you're going to do this test. So same thing. I think it was a swab.
DNA don't
I read it
lie.
to him. Yeah, reaction. I was like, yippee, I'm doing this now. I waited and so he pushed me to do it. Went on to Ancestry, DNA, set up the account, did the whole thing, sent it in. Um, Same thing. I think it takes, I don't know if it was 90 days. I don't know if it was 30 days or 2 months, something like that, but it took a while. And, they tell you it's going to take a while. Same thing. My results came in. It gives you your DNA breakdown. It connects you with whomever you may share some type of DNA with.
Yeah.
And so, like how dad explained, it could be a fourth cousin, fifth cousin. So, for people who aren't sure, which I really wasn't sure, so if you share like the same great, great, great grandparents and somebody has taken that test, it'll connect you with that person. And it's
Yeah.
not like you can go, look, I can start from here. There's just no way you can really kind of map out,
You can't control it,
okay, if
how
that's
it
your
comes
great,
in.
great, great grandparent, who is that person to hopefully my dad? It just wasn't that kind of thing. So, every now and then I would get a hit on Ancestry DNA. Hey, you have a new match, you have a new person on your tree. And I still have the messages. It's folks who were very distant in
So
the family tree, but still in the same DNA.
I think it's
So
important. I think it's important for people to understand that I
yeah,
I got the Ancestry DNA kit as a gift for Christmas, and so did you.
yeah, yeah.
1 year later.
That's pretty awesome. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. So we're both lucky. We're blessed to have people in our life that pay attention to the things that obviously, have an effect on us.
Yeah.
So they cared enough and they thought about it and they were like, hey, why don't you try that? And I can't wait till we get to that part of the conversation when we talk about faith and belief and how nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
But so, same thing. I have to tell the story this way because I want to say after like a few months, I stopped really logging back in. Every now and
Yeah.
then it'll send you an alert to your email if you have an account. And what was funny was I want to say, of course, almost 2 years, like a year and a half, went by, and I was in school and I was completing some clinicals with hospice patients.
Mhm.
Who takes a taxi anymore? I was with the person who was precepting me, and we were in a taxi, and the taxi driver was a genealogist. I don't know how we started talking about DNA. It went there for a moment, and the taxi driver was like, "You should send me your results. I can help you find your dad." Because I was telling him a story about, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. I took a test and stuff. And so the taxi driver gave me his card. So I want to say like a month after that incident with the taxi driver,
Mhm.
um, it was in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And you know how, we can do sometimes. Sometimes we're up cleaning. I was up cleaning. Okay. And I just to
Yeah.
let everyone know I am not a neat freak. I was up cleaning and I found the genealogist card. I'm like, oh my God, I never logged into Ancestry DNA.
Yeah.
Like it had been a while, like since I had logged in months. Um, maybe even almost a year, to be honest. So something just told me to log in. When I saw that guy's card, I'm like, oh, let me log in. And when I logged in,
Mhm.
um, boom, it was right there. And I probably we can probably share it later. Um, but it was there and it was like, oh, we found a match. According to blah blah blah, 90 something percent chance this person is your dad.
Wow.
And it was when I read that, it was like the world had stopped turning for a second.
It
Like
was quiet.
everything had stopped. It was quiet. It was like
It's
like I couldn't even like hear myself breathing. It was so quiet. And at the time my husband was in our, our studio and I was like, babe, I he was like, what's going on? I was like, I think I found my dad. And
wow.
he was like, okay, he got up from his studio, and my dad knows my husband. So my husband got up from the studio and
Yeah.
he came over. He said, "Well, are you gonna say anything?" And I'm like, I don't know what to say. So I immediately started drafting all the stuff. Hi, da da da. I went into this whole thing, and my husband's like, "You don't need to say all that." He goes, "Just say hi. I've been looking for you for a long time. Glad to finally meet you." And my message was, "I've been looking for you for a long time, Anna." And that was it. And to my surprise, I think within moments, you responded. And I was so shocked because when I saw you as the match on Ancestry DNA, I want to say it had your city where you lived or something. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if it did, but I was like, man, it's like early in the morning. I'm probably not going to hear nothing. But I was so elated and trembling. I couldn't go to sleep. I was scheduled to work later that day. I was on some other kind of cloud. You know, when they say you get the Holy Ghost, whatever that I was somewhere else. And
Yeah.
of course I was skeptical, right? Because even though, you found the person, you have all these thoughts. Who is this person? Is this a good guy? Is this a whatever? Is he whatever? Am I okay? Maybe he's this great person and I'm not good. All these feelings, all these things came to the surface. And so, of course, after you read your messages earlier, when you said, wow, that means you must be my child. How can this be? I responded with, my mother is Samoan, excuse me, and lived in Hawaii. I was born September 1982. Perhaps you were there December 81, January 82. Found your Facebook profile because, I immediately did that when I found you. I said, I will send you a friend request. I'm AKA quote unquote Sandy. That was my nickname, Sandy House. On my way to work, looking forward to connecting with you. God bless Anna. And, you wrote back. You said, well, I was in Hawaii from December 79 through December 82. Looking forward to connecting soon. Wow. By the way, my birthday is September 2nd. Mine is September 5th. I couldn't believe it, but I believed it. I couldn't believe it, but I believed it. One of the first things that I remember that, and there's so many stories that we could tell. I almost want to tell folks there's another part coming up, but one of the things I remember is that once we became connected on Facebook, you had seen a post that I had posted probably maybe a week prior to me discovering you on Ancestry DNA. And my post was along the lines of, you know what? I'm happy for all the girls out there that have their dads. It must be nice to have, someone in your corner. Hey, if God wanted me to know who my dad is, he'll reveal it to me. But you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to be bothered by it. And it is what it is. And like kudos to all the girls out there that have their dad. It wasn't until, and then you had responded to that post after I found you. You're like, well, now you have yours. I cried. I cried. Yes, I cried because I found you and now I get to know who you are. But I also cried because it's just a true testament until you surrender everything to God, until I mean surrender. Surrender means surrender. There is no 2% surrender, 3% surrender. Until you totally surrender and go, okay, God, I get it. I know that you it is you. You're in control. And if it's something that's for me, it's for me. And if it's not, it's not. And I accept that. It wasn't until I did that a week later, I'm logging into Ancestry DNA. What are the odds? My dad, you didn't even know you had a daughter.
Yeah.
Because people ask that. Oh, was it like a separation? Oh, were you like born when you were a baby? I'm like, no, he didn't even know I was conceived. He had no idea there was a child out there. And I knew this. I knew this. And yet,
Yeah.
in your acts of taking the test and the acts of your spouse, my spouse, giving it to us as a gift, that's still all acts of faith. That's still,
It's
oh no, there's hope.
there
And
was
so here we are.
it's a divine reunion and that God had his hand in it and that everything happened in God's timing. And not only just in us connecting with each other, but in all aspects of life, it's when we take our hands off of it and we let God be God, that's when the miracle can happen. But when we try to do it our way and try to make the process our process, that's when it's delayed. So delayed is not denial, and so and we'll understand by why God allow it to happen, when it happened. Probably we both had some maturing and growing up to do it. Had it happened at the wrong time, it might not have turned out the way that it is supposed to be. But I remember feeling the same way. My feelings was different because I was like, I got a child. Mine wasn't. It wasn't that I wasn't excited. I joked. There's a joke in the military all the time about people overseas leaving babies behind, and I really had left one behind. So tell people the story of how you ended up in California and your mom's journey.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So um, the story is, and my mom was very young. And
And I was too. We were young, 20, 21.
so I think I'm just gonna name.
In 1982, I was 21 years old, man.
Okay, right. My
I was
mother
a
was young.
young.
My
I
mother was
wasn't even.
20 when she had me,
Well,
which means she was 19 when she was,
I
I
was 20
conceived.
when I got her pregnant because I wasn't
Okay. Oh,
21 until September 2nd, 1982, and
right.
I
So
was
she
on
was
the
19.
island to December 1982.
Yeah.
So
So the story goes, and I think I'm just gonna name,
yeah, it can be brief.
instead
It
of
doesn't
naming
have to. Yeah.
perspectives or what I thought or what I think, I'm just gonna name what happened.
Hmm.
My mother left the island of Hawaii and came to the States, the mainland, so
Hmm.
the rest of the States. And I was born here in the States, in California. So I wasn't born in Hawaii. And obvious the information of me being conceived was unknown to you. You were not given that
Thank you. Yeah.
information. So that's how I ended up here in California. So my mom started a life here. She eventually, she was with a person that helped her for a bit until after I was born. And then she moved back and stayed with some family still here in California. As far as my childhood goes, my mother, being young,
Hmm.
childcare and things like that, I did stay with some of my family members in Hawaii for a few years. So I was sent to Hawaii for a few years. I came
Okay.
back to California. My mother eventually married, and we relocated to Denver, Colorado. I do have two siblings as a result of that marriage. And then we eventually relocated back to the Bay Area when I was around 9 or 10. And so, and just have been in the Bay Area ever since. So, born and pretty much raised most of my life here. Throughout my childhood, um, what I can say is that I knew, I don't know if it's a fortunate or unfortunate thing. There's pros and I knew from a very young age who I was. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that, I mean I knew that, okay, my mother's side is Samoan. I knew I was a Black. I knew that I was quote unquote different from the rest of my cousins, the rest of my family. And then the dynamics of being in a mixed family, those dynamics were certainly felt. Am I thankful? Absolutely. Were there great things that came of the mixed family of my stepdad? Absolutely. Were there other things that I went through as a child? Absolutely. And I think growing up throughout my childhood, even onto my adult life, onto when I got married, that whole feeling of not having dad, it was almost like a Horcrux. I don't know if any of you've ever seen Harry
Yeah.
Potter. It was almost like unfortunately, sometimes I use that as my reason for not succeeding at certain things. Well, maybe because if I had my dad, well, it's probably because I didn't know my
Well,
dad.
I don't think.
Well, other people had their dad, right?
Think that's a
So,
bad feeling because I had that. I mean, to this day, I say, man, if I had my dad in my life, maybe I know how to fish. I mean, and I can start the beginning of that statement if I had my dad in my life. And so I even thought about doing a podcast on it. Like what would my life have been if my dad had been in my life? And so
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. And so
So let's
I
talk
think ever
about,
since,
yeah. So
yeah.
let's talk about your journey. So we meet each other, we talk,
Oh
we
yeah.
what what was it like? Who called each
So,
other? Did I call you
oh
first?
gosh.
You gave me
I
your,
think we
you
planned
gave
to
me,
call each other. I think I went to work, and then when I got home,
we
we
talked.
spoke because I remember going home and rushing to take a shower.
Yeah, we
You know,
planned it and we
nursing.
talked, and I saw you for the first time, and that
I
was
was so
exciting.
nervous. I was nervous.
I
My
was
husband
nervous.
was so appreciative, Dad, because
I was nervous too.
you asked to speak with him. You asked to see who your grandson was. These were all things that I had never experienced before.
Hmm.
Some of the cultural and some of the dynamics on my mom's side, all love, but it was totally different. It is different coming from a father. It's just a different, whole different dynamic. So
And,
yeah, no, we called, we FaceTime.
and
You said,
Denise,
"Where's my grandson?
let me
How's
see my
your
grandson.
husband?"
You know,
Um, you had shared to me some of the success that you and Denise came across. And I didn't understand it why you told me at the time, but
hmm
I'm glad that you did because when we talk about when I first came to St. Louis, there were a few people that made comments my way. I was very confident and hey, I didn't ask and I don't have a need for anything. God has blessed me and my family. My only desire was to have this relationship
yeah.
with my dad and my siblings and my family. I'm not in need and I'm not in want. That's how I know
We
God
we
started.
got we got to slow down and back up a minute because you said you came to St. Louis. So I think both of us, I think God, this is God's divine reunion. But He put His hand on your husband's heart, and He put His hand on my wife's heart. They played a very big role in us getting together. Both of them understanding. I mean, I'm married to a woman, and now I got a kid.
Right.
I got
Yeah.
another child, and so you and Denise pulled one on me like within a couple of days after we talked on the phone.
Actually, I think it had been a few weeks.
A few
I'm sure I
weeks.
can go back
Well,
and look.
maybe you
Well,
guys had planned it for a while, but
no, actually, no. And Dad, I will be honest, and I think it's good for people to hear this. I was 5 years old again. So every day was a
hmm
text, was a call, like it was nonstop. I want to know who this man is. I'm 5. I was like a little girl in
well,
love all over again. So I wasn't wife Anna, wife Sandy. I was still mom. I wasn't mom Sandy. I am 5-year-old Anna, and 5-year-old Anna just wants to see her dad and talk to her dad nonstop all the time.
well,
And I think Denise saw that. I recognized that. And you answered my calls. You were on the phone with me. You called me. We talked, we talked, we talked. I was asking you every single question I could think of, whatever
yeah.
came to mind,
Where'd you
whether it
grow up?
be two
How did you
o'clock in the
grow up? What
morning,
school did you go
2
to? What
o'clock
was it
in the
like for you to
morning.
go to school? I mean,
And yeah,
and I had the pleasure of 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 and I had a daughter already. And so we'll talk about that too, the dynamics of having a daughter, and she's the only daughter, and Kaisha's a daddy's daughter, baby's and brother, baby sister. And
she
so
is the
she
cousin, the
she wasn't used to having any other person in her life. And so that was one of the things that we navigated, that we had to work through. Yeah, you guys pulled one on me, and Denise flew you out to St. Louis.
she did ask me if I could come, and I decided to. I booked a flight to come out there, and I did some self videos of myself in the airport. I had to talk to my husband about it because it was just me that came
I'm
out the
I'm gonna
first
play those
time.
videos.
Yeah, we will. We definitely will. And for me, and I'm sorry, I know this is taking up a lot of time. For me, I had to talk to my husband as far as I was worried about whether or not I was going to make you proud. I didn't know what anything was like over there. I'd never been to the Midwest, right? It was culture shock for me. I've been in the Bay Area, California. I mean, I've traveled, I've been many places. I just never been to the Midwest.
hmm
Midwest. And I was in awe when I was on the plane and we were finally getting ready to land. I saw everything that was green. I saw the Mississippi River. I was, I felt like, man, I get to see
Hold
all
up
of
a
my
second.
DNA.
Hold up a second, Anna. Let me play that video for a minute.
I'm getting ready to go meet my dad for the first time, and some of you guys know the story. So I am excited and nervous at the same time. My flight is delayed. It doesn't leave till 12:30. I think it's like almost 11 right now. I was going to go to the bar and get some drinks, but I thought, you know what? I want to get something for my baby sister, Kaisha. So I'm, yeah, I'm also half asleep. And thank you, babe, for supporting me. Thank you, honey, Ken, taking me, dropping me off. But, all glory to God. I feel excited and I feel nervous. I'm ready for, anything. God's timing is perfect. I'm not thinking about the past. My dad taught me his acronym FIDO. Forget it, drive on. So, at the age I'm at right now, and all my experiences, it's a lot of things I've forgotten and have driven on, and to prepare for this moment when I go to see him for the first time, I'm not going to reflect on anything negative. It's just going to be all positive. I don't think I have any more tears because I've been crying for about 3 or 4 days straight. But I'm excited for what's in store for my life, my family's life, my husband, my son, what's coming. So I'm gonna keep shopping for Kaisha. I got a necklace that I bought, an authentic Nigerian necklace that I bought that I haven't worn. I think my neck is fat. I'm inspired right now. I want to get in shape like my dad and my baby sister. So I'm doing that, but I'm gonna give her the necklace. I hope she likes it, and I wanna get her something else. I'm just looking around to see what else to get her. So thank you, family. Thank you, everyone who's been so very supportive. Remember, keep this private. He has no idea that I'm coming. So don't be like, oh my God, I'm going to post this video. Just, let me enjoy this moment. I don't ask anybody for much, but I am going to ask that, let me, God is so good. He's amazing. God is real. God is real. If you know the story, my dad did not even know he had a daughter out there. I had a totally different last name even before I was married. This is God. God is so real. This is my testimony. God is real. God is real. God is real. I cannot believe this is happening right now. All right. Let me stop. No more tears. I love you guys. Bye.
Oh,
Video
you have
played.
it.
Yeah, I have it.
Oh God.
So you were very nervous in that, huh?
I was, and I was excited, and I had messaged people who I hold very close to me, and that's only a couple of friends. I had messaged my friend Yassine at the time,
Mm-hmm.
my very good friend Tamisha, and I believe that was it. I messaged them, and I think my sisters, and that was it. You can count how many
So
people
you
you're
guys,
close to.
so you make it to St. Louis. I'm at the time I owned a restaurant and a music venue, and
Yeah. So
everyone had tricked me down to because I was with one of my nephews at his place, and he said, "Hey, let's
mhm,
go downtown to Maurizio's," and I go down there and they forced me to sit at the bar with my back to where I couldn't see. I guess everybody was around me, and then you tap me on my back and say, "Who's going to buy me a margarita?"
I can't
And
believe you remember what I
we got a
said. I
chance
remember.
to, yeah, you said that. Yeah, I was sitting there drinking a
I said,
margarita,
"What's it
and
take to get
you said,
somebody to buy a lady margarita around here?"
and for the
Yeah.
first time, you had physically touched your dad in
Yeah.
35 years.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Don't know why I almost thought it was unfair to you because you didn't even get a chance to like prep or mentally prepare. I was still, you know, somewhat nervous. I was
Hmm.
happy, but I was. I was nervous. I didn't know what to say. I didn't have any
Video
plans of what to do.
in the videos we just watched, you made
Hmm.
it a point that you was getting your baby sister. What was that? What was leading you to do that?
You know what? Because I didn't have to be in everyone's life to know. Like me coming, I knew that that was gonna take time. Nobody was mentally prepared for this, and I know that there are things already established. And it's
Mhm.
not my intention to come in and go, "Yo, I'm here." I was coming in like, "Okay, I'm excited. I just want to meet. I promise I won't get in the way. Thank you, everyone, for your grace." As I had this excitement
Mhm.
getting to know my dad after 35 years, and I just wanted to make sure that I got her something to let her know that I was thinking about her, even though I hadn't met her.
And you call her baby sis. You said my baby sister. What was that all
I
about?
did.
You was excited about, and so when you
I
was
think I got her a water bottle or something from San Francisco. I think that's what I ended up getting her.
well, you was concerned about time, because you said, I don't know if I should. Your flight had gotten delayed, and you said, I don't know if I should get a drink. I was gonna go to the bar, but I want to get my baby sister a gift. And then when you landed, you was very nervous. You was going to meet Denise, and so I'll play that
Yeah,
video.
she wanted me to take a taxi to meet her somewhere at the time. I remember, and then I think we may have had a little bit of trouble getting to Mauricio's from the airport. That might have been